Welcome to another segment of the Seek Elevation Experience with yours truly, Attorney Keisha. This is where real issues and real people, real conversations take center stage because change doesn't happen in silence. From sports to entertainment to business and community, right here is where we elevate voices that need to be heard. But we don't just talk. We talk about things to empower, to inspire, and to challenge the status quo. And let me make this clear that I skipped over just a second ago. Being attorney Keisha, I don't ever give legal advice on this segment, on this stage, but I do talk about or may share some legal information. And it is to educate you, not to give you legal advice, because I will have to know your situation in order to do so. And because I don't, I'm not giving legal advice. With that said, I know there will be those who are rolling in to see our amazing guest that I had scheduled for tonight, Mr. Capriccio Skates, who is an absolute powerhouse in the music industry. Unfortunately, something not great just happened not too long ago. And I'm happy everything is okay. Everything is okay. But it is something that needs his full attention. And so, although I completely want him here right now, he needs to give his full attention to what matters most. Because when all of this is all gone, all of this is all gone, the one thing that stands are those closest to us, right? Everything else is secondary to that. None of us is promised tomorrow. And so my heart, my energy, my thoughts, my everything goes out to that situation, which again, everything is okay, but it needs his full attention. So I would love for you all to be so empowered by him. I want to reschedule this. However, I have to figure out how to do that because I'm wrapping up the season. I cannot believe 1 year went so fast, almost 1 year. Where is the time going? I don't know, but I'm going to be appreciative of it. But it is going. If I am able to squeeze it in somehow, I will. But the plans were, and that's the thing about plans, right? Oh, sometimes they get laughed at. The plans were to just end on here. But I do know I would like for you all to get this amazing information. I had my dear friend on here already on the segment of the podcast in another capacity. We talked about just some ideals and some information and some empowerment stuff for artists themselves. But tonight, our plans were to talk about just the longevity for music professionals in general, especially someone like him who has been in the music industry for so long. And the music industry is one of those industries that is constantly evolving. And so it was definitely powerful information that I wanted to cover to understand the industry from the business perspective, even as a creator, because when you understand anything from a business perspective, then you truly understand the longevity. But you also understand how to work with the people that you're actually working with. And that's one of the things I did not want to miss for this season. We gave a lot of insights, dropped a lot of nuggets for people actually in the industry providing their services and their talents from one perspective. But I wanted to make sure I didn't close out with spinning it all the way around. So now, no matter what side you're coming in on this industry, you understand and have a good amount of knowledge of how to deal with people on the other side, because that makes a difference in what you're actually doing. As a track athlete, one of the things that just happened here recently, I don't know if any of you guys watch track and field. I know we're low on a totem pole when it comes to sports, but and it doesn't happen every 4 years during the Olympics. Track and field is ongoing pretty much for majority of the year. You have the Olympics, you have world championships that alternate every 2 years between that. You still have the USA championships. You have a lot going on. But because of the business of track, the only time it's really pushed and put out there in the public is during the Olympics and maybe a little bit during world championships. But the one thing that is going on now, right, you have Michael Johnson, who is an infamous athlete, 200 meters, 400 meters, just amazing, who here recently developed a league called the Grand Slam Track League. And he had an idea of getting athletes together, what he called the best of the best, to compete against each other. And they go on a little circuit to actually do it, just trying to elevate track and field and bring more fans in, put more eyes on it, right? The business of it. But if you look up Grand Slam track, and I'm in complete support for Michael Johnson and his attempt. And my hopes are that the Grand Slam track league takes off. But then you had Alexis Ohanian, Serena Williams' husband, who stepped into the track and field arena. And last year, he came out with something called Athlos. And it was where he identified top women in track. Last year was just track. He identified top women that were competing in track and not field, because remember, it's track and field. He identified them and put them against each other. And they won the prize money. On top of prize money, they won this crown. It's a Tiffany crown, literally personally made Tiffany crown. So look up Athlos, Athlos. They get this crown, they get their prize money. But what he did also was allow the athletes, certain athletes, join in on the equity of this event that he put on. And then what he did was not just make this event where spectators come out and see track and field runners competing against each other on the track. He made it a party. He identified an artist who would perform at Athlos before everything got started, would perform prior to the actual track event. You had athletes that came in, the athletes that were going to compete, some athletes that competed previously, and just gave them like the red carpet treatment, literally got makeup done, fashion, literally like the red carpet. Like when you see like the academies and all these things and they walk the red carpet and you have photographers shooting shots, like they would walk the red carpet. Ask who the best dressed is. And I bring these two up for a reason. It ties in. The reason why I wanted to bring my guest on tonight to talk about music from a different perspective, the business perspective, is because when I look at Grand Slam track and I look at Athlos, and the reason why one absolutely is soaring and one is actually struggling now, the difference between the two is understanding track the sport and track the business. From just understanding something from the entertainment perspective can make you very limited. Or just understanding something from the creative perspective in general can make you very limited. And that's why a lot of us feel stuck. But when you really start grasping the business side of anything you're doing, that's when we see it can soar. So when we look at Grand Slam track, the first thing I looked at when Michael Johnson came out last year with it, he did use a very notable track athlete, Sydney McLaughlin-Lavrone. You have to look her up. Absolutely next level type athlete. Kind of used her face for this league. And he would show up with her on different platforms and speak about Grand Slam track. And that was helpful, right? To let her lead. But there was a lot of things that were shared and said during the circuit of promoting this event. And some of the things that were said rubbed people the wrong way. And the very first thing that was said that was not received well was that field was going to be left off of track. So we have track and field. When you show up anywhere, you always see is track and field. It's track and field. That's what it is. He left off field, and that caught a lot of backlash. And his explanation was because field events, they're not captivating. People show up and they want to see people running, but there's just this disruption with having field events there. It's not captivating. Long jump, shot put. So he wanted to bring attention to the fans and do it in a way where it was absolutely captivating. So cutting off the field events was how to do it. So as someone who is a product of track and field, a part of it was coming out saying this. That caused a lot of division. Then you have Alexis come in and say, he's paying attention, right? He helps tons of startups. He helps startups become billion-dollar companies. He had himself is. And so one thing he's going to know as a startup, because he was starting up Athlos, actually he did it before Grand Slam. It was okay. But he's listening to the backlash. What are people not liking and what he's saying? Watching how it was actually going. I know this because, see, I'm investigating. I'm watching. I'm keeping my eyes and ears to the ground. I'm watching him. He made comments, at least Athlos did, whoever's behind it, on Instagram, comments on some of the Grand Slam events, again, which were great. But when he promoted Athlos for this time around, the second time around, what'd he do? He went and said, oh, I'm going to include field events. Not just field events. He made sure it was very narrow, though, because one of the athletes that spoke up against Michael Johnson's charge on field events being, boring, if you will, was an athlete named Tara Davis, a very great long jumper, exceptional long jumper. She came out and did not take that too well. So what he did was bring Tara Davis in, not just as someone to compete. He brought her in as someone to be a partner, to help him understand more the field event perspective, especially when it comes to long jump. So to help him understand more, and someone who also has part ownership in this now. So now he has these athletes that have part ownership. He's building around him, having conversations with these athletes on, what's important, where do I need to be educated? Whereas you juxtapose that to Michael Johnson, who was in the sport, who said, I already have the answer. And so when he talked to Tyra and then she became an athlete that showed up and pushed it and all the excitement, he rolled out Athlos and did something crazy. He said, okay, not only am I going to get your input and I'm going to make sure long jump is here because I see the excitement you bring to long jump. It's not about the field event. It's about the athlete. And that's in anything. It's not about the subject. It's about the person delivering the subject. I see that you are very entertaining. And I want you to kind of be Googling this as I tell you this. Look up Tara Davis. Look up Grand Slam Track Club. Look up Athlos, Athlos, because this is to help you in any area. It's not just track. This is understanding the business side versus not. So he brings her in and he decides to roll out. Guess what? Before we even open up the official day of competition, we're going to have long jump do this the first day, the opener in Times Square in New York. You're going to long jump in the middle of Times Square in New York. And it was a party. He brought DJs out. He brought the community out the way that you would see, you know how you see New Year's Eve or some type of concert in Times Square and you see all the people in the streets and on that big stage, you got that person performing. That's what he did for long jump. So he brought fans out by making it so engaging and doing something that was historical. And he did it with an event that was labeled as being boring, a distraction. Fans wouldn't be interested. He paid attention to where there was a gap. He paid attention to where someone said that there was a problem. He decided not to focus on the problem, but focus on a solution. As a business person, you're going to focus on solutions. Problems are beautiful things to you when you're on the business side because problems are speaking to you as opportunities to do more. But if you're not on the business side, a problem is something for you to make you pivot, to go somewhere else, to do something else. But he understood business. If you're saying there's a problem, let me find a solution. And what he did as a business person, what he did as track the business and not just track the sport was let me find one of the top athletes in a field event. Let me find not just a top athlete, let me find an athlete that is entertaining, someone who wants to watch and see, that is winning, that is absolutely winning. Not let me just find that athlete for the reasons of bringing notoriety, bringing fans' eyes, but let me find that athlete so I can sit down and have a business conversation on how to make this make sense. That's the difference. To go even further, Grand Slam Track League promised a lot of money for placements, for prize money for these athletes. And they were able to bank each time they ran. And then they also were able to bank overall after the circuit was completed and they ranked each athlete in those events. Well, the very last event, they were able to do the circuit, but by the very last event, they had to cancel that event. And when they canceled that event, all of a sudden, there were, statements released about why it was canceled and some troubles that were being experienced. And the main trouble that was being experienced was money. So athletes were saying, I didn't get paid. Show me my money. Some athletes were paid. Some athletes were paid some, but not all. And then you have some athletes who said they weren't paid at all. And they were like, show me, give me my money. Show me the money. All of this, it was pushed out there, how much they were going to get paid. In track and field, we don't get paid much. It doesn't matter what stage you're on. Track athletes don't get paid much on the world stage, Olympic stage. It's small, right? So he was pushing that. This is huge prize money. This is life-changing. This is game-changing. So when people heard that there were money troubles, it was a problem. That started to overshadow all the good things that were happening up until that last meet. Immediately, where my mind went to, because he explained that investors backed out. There were things that happened where where he depended on the monies, it fell through. So immediately my mind went to the business of it, right? What things were put in place from the business perspective that wouldn't just allow people to fall through. Now, don't get me wrong. One thing I have to keep telling individuals, having contracts and doing all the things that you need to do legally to have that infrastructure, it puts you in a better position to prevail if anything was to happen, to prevail in front of the fact finder in a court, with an arbitrator. If you have the infrastructure in place, one, you do less of the fighting. When you do less of the fighting, you come less out of your pocket. But doing everything that you need to do legally doesn't shield you from experiencing legal woes. It doesn't stop you from happening. What it does is hopefully prevent it, because people know that you're serious about whatever, and depending on the terms that you all are agreeing under may make somebody think twice about it, but it doesn't shield you, because some people will still try to try you. That's just what the industry is about. They'll try to try you. And to be honest with you, some big time companies they'll go ahead and try you because they're hoping that they can outmoney you. They're thinking that even if you prevail in the end and possibly can get all the money back that you spent in legal fees and costs, maybe you will break before you can get there. Maybe you can't even spend a lot of money to get to the end to get it back. So doing all the things legally doesn't shield you from legal woes. It just puts you in the best position to prevail on anyone trying to play you. Now, back to what I was saying. The first thing I thought of when he said all this, I was like, was everything in place for people to just back out of this, leave you with this debt owed to all of these athletes? I mean, what is going on here? Then let's switch it over to Athlos. Then you look at Athlos. Again, paying attention to the woes and the problems, hearing what people are saying about Grand Slam. What's the headliners? Immediately, Alexis come out and say, oh, by the way, Athlos is in partnership with Cash App. Athletes will get their money immediately on the spot. They don't have to wait for these checks. Immediately, they will get this money on the spot. It is going to be cashed app to their account. And so you had these runners, these athletes compete. And then immediately when the winners won, they went behind the scenes, went behind the stage and did their interviews and all that good stuff. Literally a stage, because at the track, a stage was set up for these athletes to go on the stage, and he had his wife, Serena Williams, crown these athletes with their personally handmade Tiffany crowns on the stage. When they left the stage, went behind the scenes and did an interview, immediately they showed their phone. I got my money. I got my money. No delay, no hesitation. So really huge sponsorship or collaboration with Cash App, because Cash App was recently in the news for this class action suit, but a good time to show him in a good light. But he also competed against the narrative of Grand Slam Track Club not paying their athletes. Went from not paying to where Grand Slam said after they ran, because the understanding was after they run, they would get this money. They held up this gold envelope and was dancing in it. It's supposed to have been a check in there. But he actually had them show the money put in the account. So again, he understood the business side. Let me pay attention to what the issue is. How can I solve that What can I do to bring more eyes and trust? And how do I do this in a way where it's about business? The winnings for him, his league for Athlos was $60,000 for the winner. And then it went down, for second place. For Grand Slam, I believe it was $100,000. He didn't overpromise. He didn't overpromise. He kept it to one night, not multiple series, not multiple meets, one night. See, he's showing proof of concept. This is understanding business. Please follow me here. I want you to follow me to apply this to whatever you're doing and understand why there's a difference when you don't understand the business of what you're doing. He didn't overpromise. He didn't feel that in order for me to bring eyes to what I'm doing, I have to overpromise and then need to overdeliver. He felt what I am going to promise is something, obviously, he felt I can do, I can live up to. But where I'm going to overdeliver is paying attention to solving a problem that's out there and making this something that stands out different than anything else out there. I don't need this to happen for this second time around 4 times. I need to hit it big one time to get people to see my vision, to believe in what I see. I need to just go all in this one time. And when he did that, he went in this one time and then he pulled his circle of people in. You've seen, when you go watch Athlos, you can look it up on YouTube, the Athlos meet. What he did was have his camera people, of course, looking at these athletes. He had Sierra as a performer this year. He pulled his wife in this year, not last year, to crown people. But in the audience, as viewers of this track event, there were all types of celebrities there, right? You had Queen Latifah was there. Flavor Flav was there. You had so many different people, from actors to singers, songwriters, all types of people, and made sure the camera got on those people. He placed those individuals in VIP, mixed with some other people just that are not, performers, but put them in VIP. So when the athletes crossed the line and went to that area, spanned that area of VIP, you seen these celebrated individuals. Michael Johnson has notoriety. He's done some amazing things. Using his name as leverage, his connections as leverage, strategically placing and putting the connections there and putting less of himself in front could have been a huge business move. But track says, we're just going to put the focus on these athletes, and they're going to run super fast, and they're going to make you excited because they're running super fast, and you're going to love track because of that. Alexa said, I can't just bank on that. If people haven't been liking track up to now, I can't just focus on putting the eyes on track athletes, no matter how fast they are, because they're running this fast. They're breaking world records. They're breaking American records. They're getting gold medals in Olympics and world championships, and people still aren't watching. So I don't want to just put eyes on them. I have to put eyes on this event that places them in there. And everybody understood the assignment. It was a party. So the objective was still achieved of getting more fan base, because they had the young lady, the gymnast. Oh gosh, what is her name? The gymnast. Oh, her name is escaping my mind right now. The Asian one, I can't remember her name, but they had the gymnast there, and she was talking about how excited she was of this Athlos event. Super excited, hyped. And then she said, I've never been to a track event. I've never been. I'm happy to be here. I have some friends here because she met some individuals at the Olympics, but I've never been. So he achieved the objective of getting more eyes on track and field. That stadium was packed. People showed up to party. They couldn't wait for the after party. Artie was partying in Times Square the day before, so they couldn't wait for the next day. And lastly, I want to bring this point up. Remember I said Michael Johnson caught backlash because he said, field events, that's boring. It's a distraction. I'm just going to focus on just track. And it felt like an isolated situation. But let's spin this. With Athlos, Alexis said, I'm just doing this for women. No men. So he isolated men. I'm just doing this event, and it is a woman-only event. But what did he pay attention to there? You had two that said, I'm isolating something. But he didn't get as much backlash. Of course, there's backlash. People say, hey, what about us? What about men? Come up with something for us. One, he was very strategic in what to choose. You got to read the room. You got to pay attention to what is concerning for the people as a whole. No one really knows the difference of track versus field when you're talking about the people as a whole. Like, you have to already be watching track and field, right? But there is an ongoing conversation about overlooking women in sports. We talk about the WNBA, any sport. Overlooking women is a hot topic. And women becoming more equal, or at least have somewhat of an equal playing field, has been a collective conversation. So when he chose what to focus on, it was something that was going to foster more consensus than it was dissension. Understanding business is understanding that you're not going to be able to appease everybody. You're not going to be able to serve everybody, and you shouldn't. You can't, because if you're trying to do that for everybody, you're missing something. Something is missing. So he understood, I'm not going to appease everybody, but I will choose my battles. And I will choose the battle that is going to help the mission versus hurt the mission. And so although he just focused on women, when you look at the Athlos meets, all these men that was there, you had Noah Lyles, who was a notable track athlete. He gave his take on Grand Slam Track Club and why he didn't participate in it. And he gave his very political response and review on it. But when you listen to him about Athlos, he was like, oh my gosh. One, they showed him there the night before in Times Square, and then the next day. And he was so impressed. He said, I am impressed with Athlos. And I don't impress easily. Oh, they got that caption from Noah. Noah Lyles, a male, top male in the 100 and 200 and track and field at an event that is just for women, said, I am impressed. Now I am going to bring up the elephant in the room because it's big. Some people are saying, okay, Michael Johnson caught hell from the beginning. From the time he mentioned Grand Slam track, people were already pushing and negative and all this type of stuff. Agreed. I agree. It was a lot he was already catching a lot. And there's different reasons why people are saying that happened. But if you also look at Athlos its first year, it was catching it too. It was catching it for all types of reasons. Him stepping into an arena, not being about track and field, not knowing and understanding track and field, according to his own admission. Wasn't really a lot of engagement or following on the Instagram page. It was just like, very slow. So if you look at both, although it was delivered two different ways, it wasn't a lot of support in the beginning. Another thing people are saying is, especially when it comes to the Black community, you have someone who is starting this amazing opportunity for track athletes, trying to shift this game that has always been playing the athlete, stepping up, saying, I want to do something different. I want to do something new. I want to put the athlete first. And then you had this other person who's not Black. You have this white male, this white man come in and say, I want to do something different for female athletes in track. And individuals look at, okay, you have so many people in the Black community who's not supporting Michael Johnson, but all of these people in the Black community is supporting Alexis. Or he is the husband of Serena Williams and all the things. Understanding the business of anything, you have to do what's called a SWOT analysis. You have to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. If you look at last year and this year, you clearly see Alexis follow SWOT. Because he didn't just, when he said it take off, it took off for the things that he paid attention to in that SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. Michael Johnson, then you look at those things, because I am not going to sit here and pretend that there are not barriers that come with, or obstacles that come with, all the things that people are mentioning. But what you can do is you identify those things and you know them and you prepare for them. And it helps you to make better decisions when you're looking at who to isolate, how to deliver with this vision or ideal you have to the very community that you want to support you. So although those things can be taken into consideration, I strongly believe those weren't the determinative factors. Speaking as a businesswoman and dissecting it from the inside, what I seen was the determining factor was understanding track, the business, and track, the sport. I was in the sport. I was an athlete, and this is how I think it should be handled. This one, I wasn't in track, not an athlete, but I see a business opportunity, and I'm going to handle this business opportunity the same way I handle any of the startups I've done or any of the founding owners that I help with their startups. This is a business. So that is Athlos and Grand Slam track is something to be studied because it's in an industry. And if whatever industry you are in, whether it's entrepreneurship, sports, entertainment, and you are on the side of providing a product or service, and you want to know how to elevate what you're doing, now is the time moving forward. Times are evolving. It doesn't matter what it looked like before. Now is the time for you to understand the business aspect of what you are doing. What are problems? Don't let them make you go a different direction. Become the solution. Where are other people in the industry failing at? That you can take those failures as lessons to learn from. Or take it even deeper where you failed at, because your failing doesn't make you a failure. Stopping makes you a failure. When you just failed at something, you're learning something. It's a lesson. So what have you failed at that you can now take that lesson and do better? These are the things Alexis did. This is what we're looking at. Where is there a gap? where you're not trying to just step into something that has always been done this way. And it's done this way because someone says it's supposed to be done this way. It's best to be done this way. You know, no one's going to watch field events because they're boring, they're distracting, versus I'm going to take this long jump and put it in the middle of Times Square in New York with the DJ and party. So pay attention to what you are doing and look at how you can now, you have to be both. And if you're bringing people onto your team, if you have a team, you need to sit down with them now, not as the artist, the creative, the owner. You need to sit down and discuss with them what needs to be executed for you in order for you to deliver and up-level whatever it is that you have to offer. So I went off on that because that was one of the things that I wanted to touch on, built to evolve, longevity for music professionals with our guest Cap, because he's been a music professional for so long, and he has constantly evolved, reinvented himself, been in this industry. And I really wanted him to drop some gems so you can understand it from the business perspective. No matter what aisle you're sitting on as a music professional, you understand it from the business perspective. But the information and the thought is universal. And so hopefully me bringing from my area of track and field this information to you from something that's going on in real time or just happened in real time that you can now go back and just look. Hopefully me bringing that information to you is something for you to apply personally to what you have going on and you really understand, and it helps to hit home the difference between you moving from a business perspective to I just show up and I'm talented perspective. I can create this product and service perspective, and you understand it because he took off. And he's going to now, next year, remember I told you proof of concept. He stayed focused. He's now going to supersede, attempt to, which obviously he proved through his concept he can. And I'm sure through this proof of concept, and I keep saying that because you have to show that too. You can't just have people believe in you because you believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself first before anyone believes in you. But proof of concept is what's going to make people move. So he showed proof of concept. So he obviously know who's like, I'm on board. Next year, now he is doing multiple competitions. And he says he wants it like F1. It's going to be like track and field, like the F1 series. That's how it's going to be. Like how you have the racing cars and you have sponsors that show up and all the things. He's already matching the two. And he knew how to describe it. He picked F1. He picked freaking a sport that people are highly interested in that has money. He didn't just talk about track and field. He know who he's speaking to. So as he prepares them for next year, and he used this comparison of F1 and track and field, and he already showed the proof of concept. Kudos to the athletes that would be involved. Kudos to him with this completely taken off. And hopefully Michael Johnson is able to learn from the lessons and also do what I believe Alexis is doing, watch and know how to deliver. And don't just think you know it because I've been in it. Put the people around you. Get the right partners. So that's what I wanted to bring to the table. That's how I wanted to fill up our time. And hopefully that gave you some nuggets to apply to whatever it is that you're actually doing. If there's anyone on that has any questions, I do not mind taking those questions before I wrap up. If there's anything that you want to say, because that's one thing I was not able to do was take a lot of questions throughout this season. But if there's any questions that you have, I am more than willing to take them. Unfortunately, this is only tonight. It is only rolling on YouTube. I do not have it. I usually have it airing also on LinkedIn and on Instagram, but it is only on YouTube. For those who will see it on replay, if you have questions, comments, please feel free to put them in the comment box and I will respond to them as I am able to get to them. But if there is no questions, that is a wrap for today's episode of Seek Elevation Experience. I hope what I shared with you adds tremendous value to what you are actually doing. I hope what I shared with you is a spark that is going to ignite a huge flame in you on how you move forward and how to elevate what you are actually doing. And look at everything that you're doing and dissecting it from a business perspective and studying a select few around you that's doing what you're doing. See what they're doing well, see what they're not doing well. But always walk into it from the perspective that I am a business first. And the product and service that I deliver is something that helps you. But me understanding I'm a business first helps me. So with that said, the more you know, the more you grow, the more you learn, the more you definitely can earn. Yeah. The more you can learn, the more you learn, the more you could definitely earn from this information today. But when you share, you show care. So don't keep this information or this knowledge to yourself. I want you to spread the wisdom. No matter when you've seen this segment, when you see it, if it hits home and you know somebody else needs to see it, share it. Tag somebody in it. I want us to continue to keep elevating together. This is my next to last video segment, live segment, I should say, for the season, but I will continue throughout the year of sharing some information on my audio podcast. Actually, as I think it through, that may be where I can possibly have Capriccio, just not live. You can't ask questions. But if you share questions, if I do it that way and you want to send questions that I can ask during, then I won't mind going through, some of the top questions and ask them. But for now, this is next to last. I enjoyed being live. I am looking forward to what next season is going to be. My aim is to always elevate, but I'm excited for what's to come. So until next time, I want you to keep striving. I want you to keep growing. And I always say this, most importantly, keep seeking elevation. I see you next time. Peace and progress.